was the youngest of 4 kids, trying to sort of find my way, like where do I fit? The seeds were being planted, but it hadn't really blossomed into something that was like, of course, everyone expected her to become an artist and a designer. I think actually no one expected that from me. My name is Casey Perez. I'm a jewelry designer and metalsmith, and I'm based in Brooklyn, New York. So a metalsmith, I would describe, essentially just means someone that works with metal. So this can be anything from gold, silver, brass, steel. But I just use the term metalsmith because I work with more than one kind. I really fell in love with the craft. That was how I first came into jewelry, was learning how to work at the bench and how to work with materials and really just how everything in a shop works. I need to see it and feel it. And so for me, that was the approach I decided really worked the best for me, was kind of painting with metal in a way and sculpting it in real time just to see what it's gonna look like. In this way, I get to be that person that kind of, sculpts the marble into the final, statue of David, and I really kind of get to see what's happening and see it come to life. So that really creative part of me didn't really officially sort of break out until I enrolled in an intro to jewelry making class at NYU. It was just an elective and it was senior year. It had been a while since that side of me really got to come out and really just have at it. And so while I was taking that class, that spark was just like reignited. And I kind of just followed my gut and was like, this feels like something is pulling me toward it, and I think I need to kind of explore it further. Yeah, it was a bit of a culture shock because coming from Dallas, my high school was really diverse. Like I went to school with a lot of people that looked like me, a lot of people from other races, Asian people, Black people, and then when I got here, and I got to NYU, it was very white. And so that was a bit of a shock, just kind of feeling a little out of place and like not really feeling comfortable. But luckily I made a really awesome group of friends. Yeah, thankfully that culture shock didn't last for too long. I really get a lot of inspiration from nature. When I, have the opportunity to get out on hikes, or like if I'm on the West Coast and get to like see the ocean and like huge cliffs and rolling hills and mountains, whether it's like rocks that have been like weathered away by the ocean over millions of years into like amazing cool patterns, like it's just like really fascinating. And then when I come back to my studio, that kind of like filters through my own sort of style and comes out in really unexpected ways. I created a collection recently called Tierra Nueva, and that means new land, and I named it after the town where my mom is from. So I really wanted to kind of incorporate inspirations from things she would tell me about it. She'd mention, rolling hills and rivers and just all these kind of geographic features. And even though I never got to see it and go there, in my mind, I would kind of picture and imagine what it was like. And so I wanted to imbue that sense of movement, the contours of a landscape, whether it was like a river curving through the geographic features of that place, or the sloping hills she would kind of tell me about when she'd have to travel on horseback into town. It was a way to honor that part of my history in a way that really, I was literally making it into something so precious. So a phrase my mom would say often growing up was, hay que hacer la lucha, which essentially means like, we have to make the fight, like we have to try. And for her, that really was very literal because she was raising us 4 kids by herself. And so she really had to work a lot and really do, work extra hard to provide for us and to make sure that we have everything that we needed. And you know, she always showed up and did her best. She was like ready to, you know, she's ready to fight, always there to try her best and do what it takes. And I try and channel that energy and put that energy into the things that I want to achieve and all of the goals that I have. My style has never really been very traditional. It's always been very abstract with interesting shapes, things that you don't really see a lot in jewelry. You know, when I was a kid and would just be doodling and, you know, drawing things, I would always kind of imagine things like in faraway places, really kind of like escapist in a way. And so when I create jewelry, I kind of like I want to convey that same sense of like imagination and awe and wonder whenever you pick up one of my pieces. It's an industry that is extremely challenging to get into. Making the industry a little more accessible would be something I would love to change, whether that means, you know, getting more people of color interested in the field. I think just like by being here and like having gotten here, you know, that kind of breaks the stereotype of like what you expect a jewelry designer to be. You know, she's not always like this rich white woman whose family was in the jewelry business. You know, a Mexican-American woman can be a lot of things, including a jewelry designer. So for me, I think, yes, absolutely, it's been worth it because I kind of found my way back to my true self. And I think that's really important because, you know, you don't really want to look back at life when you're old and, you know, you can't do anything anymore and have all of these regrets that you didn't try. And so for me, yeah, I don't want to get to that old age and kind of regret that I never really gave this a shot.